Well, hey everybody, what I've got here is I've got my 1600 dual port Volkswagen motor that goes in my single cab truck. I rebuilt this thing. I didn't show any of that on the channel here, but I rebuilt this thing, could not get it running right. Why, it's got like vacuum leak problem, or we thought it was a vacuum leak. I took it to some experts over in Indianapolis. They said there's definitely something wrong with the cam. So we are today going to tear this brand fresh built engine apart, and we're going to replace the camshaft. And I'm going to try to do just half of the engine. I was told by the experts you could do that. So we're just going to take apart this half and get to the cam and replace it, and not take off the cylinders on the other side. We'll see how it goes. So let's get started. All right, first step, we're going to take off the exhaust. We're using a 10mm deep well to get these clamps off. I'm just going to shove that back for now. And then here we've got some bolts for the heat risers that we got to take off. And not sure if we'll be able to reuse these gaskets or not. We got one bolt we can get easy here. And the one underneath here is not so easy. I could use a ratchet or a wrench on that one. It's actually not bad, it's just keep it sucking on it. Oh, that'll never be found again. Oh, I could see it. And that washer's kind of fused to the paint there, so I'm gonna steal that. Okay, now we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side. Alright, now we just got to take all this top stuff off. I'm going to start with spark plug wires, move on to the distributor, we'll take the carburetor off. You get the picture. Probably. Alright. Carburetor next. How do they do that?
Did you put it on us?
I wouldn't know if that might on there, you know. I'm
Oh,
guessing
they
it's
put
shot.
it
So okay. So we should get this off too. So these holes are in here. Oops. That's not quite big enough. Just a little gas. Pull these wires off. Alright. This goes to the condenser. I'll leave that on there because that's kind of, and we'll pull it off just to get it away. Okay, now it's a little easier to get this carburetor. This particular empty carburetor has 12mm nuts on it. Sometimes they're 13, but it's empty came 12. And then we need a washer. Pull it off from our fresh gasket anyway. Okay. Alright, now we're gonna take off this generator cord. Gotta remember these shims configuration. So we'll lose it. Alright, now we unclamp this guy. Okay. And slide this off, just clamp it without scratching it. Alright, next I'm going to try to take these boots off, so that we can start loosening up this intake. You want to make sure you don't over tighten these little things, because these little things are hard to find. You think these clamps, well, not hard to find, but get them online, I guess. But you can't just go to a hardware store and buy this size hose clamp, because they're all way fatter than this. They won't fit in the slots. And these are pretty cheaply made, so they break easy if you over tighten them a little. So you got to be careful. Okay. Hoping I can get this scooted, but it's probably gonna give me fits. So let me get a screwdriver for that. Screw that off. You might need to use a screwdriver or pick and just go on the inside of that rubber. Free it up so you can scoot it off. All right, no problem. Okay, next we're going to take this whole big assembly off with the fan and also the generator hooked to it. But in order to do that, there's a rod right in here for the cooling, and I am running a thermostat on this. So I'm gonna have to flip this over, take the sled off on this side, and take that thermostat out of the way. So that's what we're gonna do next. Can't see it well, but there's a screw back here holding that sled on underneath this, or up above this J tube. That's really the one I should have took out first. There we go. And I shouldn't have took that off, but this has just got sled tins on it since I'm not running heater boxes. I've been told that these sled tins really don't do that much, but I like to use them anyway. You know, it makes me feel like the airflow is better. I don't know, I've just been told that. Maybe it's wrong. This particular case has a bolt in here instead because I had to rebuild the magnesium here where it had split out. So that wasn't pleasant, but I did it. Come on. I may have to take the J tube off before I get to that, so you know what? Let's just do that now. I had these valve covers off on a few times trying to debug problems, so I got some oil still down here on the J tube, so I'm going to before finished and running into the grip, I'll be worried. Alright, we also want to take these gaskets off here. Might be able to use those. Probably should. I'm sure it extras. Alright, so the thermostat is right here. This is an aftermarket one. We got to take that off. And here's that rod I was talking about that goes up into the fan housing up here to open and close off the heat to different parts of the engine. You can see it's spring loaded, just pumped right up there. Do that. And this just unscrews out of here. I got the end of that rod threaded. I had to make that actually. And my stock rod was all rusty. Different guys have different thoughts about running thermostats, but factory did it. I figured it was a good idea. Okay. Now we're going to take this off. There's 2 screws for that. One of them's easy to get to, one of them isn't. Here's the first one. Don't buy cheap tools.
Oh my.
That's a Craftsman too. I'll make them like they used to, I guess. It was really tight though. I probably should use a thicker screwdriver for that. These just need loosened because they're slotted. So another thing we're going to do is in the back here, there's 2 things here. We have a spring to release. That's for that heating dampers and stuff I was talking about. And then there's also there's one over here that's underneath this. So I'm gonna have to take this off. This is the tin over the doghouse oil cooler. Oh my goodness. Wow, I got that one in there tight. Let's see here. This comes off. And then there's another magic one under here hiding. And boy, did I tighten those suckers. Okay, there we go. Just slides off. And then under here, we've got this. Usually I have to take this loose. It's got a little clip that you can't lose, or you shouldn't lose. And then this comes out of the way. Put that clip back on there so it does not get lost. Like that. Still got my tube here. I'll go ahead and take that out for the throw cable. Alright. Now this guy kind of needs to be out of the way. If he gets hooked on stuff, you're going to have trouble. Okay. Now over here, if you come back around here, you can see that we have another screw right there. And he's going to be hard to get to. Well, that purchase was worthless. I thought I could use my 90-degree on that. Instead, I'm going to have to maybe break another screwdriver. See if I can get to it sideways, like. See there. See if we can't pry it around there. Again, it just needs to be loose because it's slotted. So this whole thing will come out of there. Should come out of there, no problem anyway. It's probably enough. Now, just looking and checking to see if anything here is going to give us fits on the way. I can see right now that will. This stays with the motor, our oil cooler. And so I'm going to have to loosen that and see if we can't, with that loose, then this whole tin should come off.
I think you might be able to use that 90-degree thing.
We're going to try it. Yeah, it'll fit here. Start up here. Pry this way.
The easiest thing to use.
Especially with such a tiny little. Yeah, well.
Like zero leverage.
You guys get the picture. I'll get that out of there after some trouble. Okay. Can't get any leverage in here. This stupid engine stands in the way, but I'm just gonna put some leverage on the back of it. I think that did it. Broke it loose anyway. All right, you get the picture. All right, everything should be good. If I got everything, I think I got everything. So I should just be able to pick this up, and I'm gonna have to twist it a little bit because that rod going down there, I kind of know the path it's taking. There we go. And this doghouse, I'm gonna make it tougher. There we go. All right. Next, I'm gonna try to take these intake manifold tubes that go down to the intake ports. Got one that's gonna be easy to get out. Well, not here. One that's not so easy, we'll get it off afterwards. You might have to use a swivel for it, or just use a wrench. You can see it's down underneath here where you can't get to it very easy. All right, do the same thing the other side. All right, now probably going to need something long because I got to get to this bolt first. I'm going to need a longer extension to get to that, and then we'll pop that guy off too. Let's see what size he is. I'm not 100% certain. Looks like a 13. Yeah, we're going to use a longer extension trim here. I think I'll leave the swivel in there just to make it a little easier. Try to scoot this out quite a bit so we can, or completely out, so we can scoot stuff around. Okay.
There's a washer on it. The washer is going to fall.
That's okay. This whole thing should swivel out of the way. Take it off here. Gas. Nope. Alright, now this thing, get those off. This thing should just lift right out of there. You can see it's slotted on the bottom, so it just kind of fits in a groove here on this stud. And we'll go ahead and take that out because that's joining the case halves together, and we don't want that in there. Alright, we're going to take this crank pulley off. Just start with this big nut on here. Hopefully we can get it off. Yeah, got to be careful. I did have to shim this out so it didn't rub on the case. These are made a little different than the stock. You see there's a lot of space in there. So I had to put a shimmy behind it. And we're going to try to pull that off. Hopefully it comes quietly. With just a couple of pry bars. Mar my paint either. Oh yeah, comes right off of there. And there's that shim I was talking about.
Okay.
All right, now that we get that out of the way, I'm just gonna try to get some of these tins out of the way here because they're just gonna be in the way in the long run. Here. And some ball here.
Put that box.
If I don't have to take this side off, luckily, I'm only doing half of it. We'll get a full box of 10 bolts.
And a handle of them.
Okay, this should come out. Clean, fresh build, sorry. Okay, what we're really trying to get to is this oil pump. We got to take that oil pump off, Well, none of this is going to happen. And you can see the camshaft head is going to be right behind that thing. So let's think here. So once we get that off, then we'll probably move to the back and do the flywheel. Alright. This is covered with Permatex. I used Permatex sealant behind all these to make sure it doesn't leak, and also the 2 gaskets in there. So it's going to need some cleaning for sure. Those washers. This is sticky stuff. You don't want to touch it.
Okay. Guess I won't touch it.
We'll put those in the bag. And now this is going to take... Ugh, look at that. It is going to leak it. How about that? Some oil leakage there, which is normal.
I don't like these oil pumps.
Huh?
I think oil pumps look fun.
Yeah, they are. All right. A couple of gaskets here. This thing's just going to cry and seep, but that's fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to take these gears out just to get them out of the way. Symmetrical. I thought they were asymmetrical, but this one here's got the shaft on the back of it. There we go. Can't get that one wrong. Alright. I haven't done any modifications to the oiling on these. It's all stock. Alright, so now we got to somehow get this out of here. And this can be a little tricky, especially when you forgot to grab a hammer.
A hammer?
Yeah. There's a more or less glued on there with that Permatex sealant I used to get that right in the right spot. You do not want to damage anything. See. It is coming a little bit. Probably not. Okay, gotta be careful with these surfaces. I'm just using a screwdriver gently. And this nut right here. Here it comes. Yeah, let me put a little force. And some new gaskets. There we are. Yummy. Ugh. This was a brand new one I put in, so I don't expect anything to go wrong with it. Just on this, which that's good. Yeah. One thing I want to do on this is I do want to put that, I want to soft put that back on there, the pulley, so I can put it to top dead center. All right, I want to put it top dead center. Probably should have done that before now, but I think it already is at top dead center. I should have verified that, but didn't. So, all right, changed my mind on that rear. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the spark plugs out. Don't think about it. Oh, we're gonna have to take out all 4. Even working that side assembled, we have to take the rockers off. Keep in mind, remember the tension in there. They're putting tension on that camshaft. Yeah, recorded up. It is not running right, sure. You take one here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull off this tin here. Not these 2 screws. We gotta take that off anyway. Be very careful. Very careful if you do this. Like I'm doing it because you don't want to fall in there. Although at this point, you already take it off anyway. Just don't it. I'm a klutz. I know I will drop stuff down there instantly. Ahead. All right, I'm gonna shove this back on. Just make sure we are at top dead center. I think I am already. Look at that. Pretty close. Top dead center mark at the split in the case. Yeah, it's close enough. And this is towards number 1. This has been moved around. It's actually marked here, but it's actually, it is top dead center. This would be way out, so. And one other, you know, on that stroke, I should have top right here, and I do. It does not go in very far because we're at top dead center. This one should go way in, see? I'll tell you number 1 here is at top dead center. As long as your top dead center mark is at center case, you could go. And that's just for frame of reference. When I take this apart, I'll kind of know where it's already at. Okay, next we're going to try to take off the flywheel and take the main seal out. And then we'll flip this up and start disassembling this side of the case. Okay, we're going to take off this pressure plate. It's a few bolts. We should take them off a little easier. Okay. Oh, there you go. And these guys. Thank you. And then this guy on the top. Oh no! Okay, and then this will come out with the clutch disc and everything. Got that. Reveal that huge gland nut. Alright, so we have to lock this flywheel. And so we're going to use this little device. We'll lock it. That'll keep it from turning. Like that. And we'll use a 13. Actually, I think this thing's cranked at about 300 foot-pounds. So it's going to take quite a bit of force here to break this. And so I usually use a rod here. Retorquing it's a little fun too, but and on this stand you got to be a little careful because it'll tip. So let's see what we can do. Yeah, if you stand on that.
Hold on a second.
No, don't put your hand there. If this flips up, break your fingers.
I've had that happen
Actually, I don't
before.
think.
This is going nowhere fast.
I noticed that. I switched off camera to a 3/4 inch.
Renting always helps.
Always helps. They have special tools you can use. You can buy add torque to doing this. Yes, oh, probably not. Thank you. I just give them some. At least columns. A couple of references there. Guardians of the Galaxy and also boards. Yeah. The Volkswagens on hitchhikers use that phrase, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that
There it is, boy. That was hard to get out because I used some thread locker on it. So, no surprise there. Alright, this should slide right off here. I don't want it to fall though. Yeah, it's coming off pretty easy. It's right there. Unfortunately, we're going to destroy this poor gasket, but it can't be helped. And probably not the right tool to do this with. Let's see if we can get this in here and pry a little bit. Yeah. Oh, why doesn't... there we go. More oil. Oh, look, there's... go play with your friend. See, I've done this before and been careless about throwing it together. So I'm going to retrieve these shims. It took me a while to get the right thickness here. With any luck, hopefully, it's all going to be the same when I will check it again when we put it back together for the end play, but this should be able to be used right back in there. I want to keep these just like this and store them. All right, now we are ready to start pulling this head off. Now, first thing I said we need to do is we're going to need to take the rocker assemblies off. So I got to do that on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and start here since I'm already standing here. We'll take the valve cover off, and then we'll do the rockers. Yeah, that guy. All right, these should be, I think, 10s. All right, so these nuts have to come off of here. They're 13s. They get wavy washers under them. You lose wavy washers. You lose nuts, but wavy washers will harder to come back. And that's one of the wavy washers. Yeah, they're a little waved. All right, now these guys should come out of here. Wait, it's supposed to. I'm taking these rods out, and I'm just kind of labeling them. Some guys I know try to keep the same ones going to the same cylinders, and so I'm just kind of labeling them: one exhaust, one one I for intake, one E for exhaust, and I'll do that with 2 and 3, you know, well, 2 anyway, just so we know we got them in the right spots. All right, time to take the head bolts off, and so we're going to do this kind of in a little pattern. When you torque it back together, you should use 2 different patterns to torque it. I'm going to kind of follow that a little bit. You don't just want to take them all out at once, all right? I think that one's already, is that the one I just did?
Yes.
This guy. This one. This guy. Okay, these guys are pretty loose already. And then he's loose. He's loose. Okay. All right. We'll come back and get all those washers out because they're special washers. Back bliggers. Okay, now for the washers. And some of these are hard to get out because you gotta flex the stud a little bit.
Good hand. Can't see anything you're doing.
The stud, you see how the washer's all the way down this side? It's stuck in there. So you kind of have to push the stud up a little bit to get it out of the groove. These are like it too. This is not bad, but he's already outside the groove. Alright, this thing should come right off of there. Hopefully we don't see any blow-by or any signs of any trouble. Now these tubes are going to be stuck in there, and they're probably going to resist a little bit. There we go. Just going to push them out as best I can while I'm doing it, and they'll all probably fall out. We can minimize that by rotating this some more. And the head's off. It looks really nice. Look at that head. No blow-by or anything. We had a really good seal on there. Some carbon. That's to be expected.
What are these things?
They're rubber O-ring gaskets. We can go ahead and take those off. We'll have to replace these.
Of course. Do these need numbered?
No.
That's disgusting.
Well, there is some Permatex on them holding
I
them.
would assume so. That's what makes it disgusting.
Permatex, that's what I always use.
It's disgusting.
Alright, now we can take this deflector plate here, this heating tent. Now, one thing to remember is, when you put this back together, make sure you put that in before you put that head on, or you'll never get it off. Ask me how I know that. Don't ask me how I know that. So, what we're going to do next is try to pry these up. This cylinder is at top dead center, which is perfect, because we need to get this the actual cylinder here up high enough that we can get to the pin clips on either side. So this is slightly, I don't want to say glued in, but I used some silicone based stuff that I read about on the internet. That's an ultra gray gasket stuff just to give extra sealing potential here. And so it's gonna be a little hard to get up here. It's gonna yell at me and not want to move. Yeah, pretty much what I thought. So we may have to use a putty knife and go around this a little bit. What you don't want to do is go hammering on this. No. Do not hammer, don't pry, because if you break these fins, you lose the heating, or cooling, I should say, capability of the cylinder with the air. So this will take me a few minutes. I'm going to go off camera for that. All right, I got it broke loose. Now we just need to raise it up. I'll put my hands under here because I don't want to go, oops, too far. But it's got to go more than that. So, we got to get to the point here where we got the piston coming out from under it, and it's not there yet.
Good noises.
Grunt a little. Here it's coming. You want to expose that piston pin. Go it easy. You definitely won't go too far. As you get those rings out, you're in trouble.
Oh, there's a hole over there.
There we go. You don't want to go too far. You don't want the rings to pop out. Then you gotta use a compression tool and go through all that again.
Ain't nobody want to do that.
Anybody got time for that? Okay. Now you gotta be very careful here. I'm going to cram something down in here because I do not want to lose this pin clip down in the engine somewhere. That would not be good. That would turn this job into a bigger job. There we go, got it. Now, there's one on the other side too, but we shouldn't need to do anything with that. We should be able to push that guy out of there. Of course, I'm going to have to use some, here we go.
Can't see that at all.
Use something like your pinky. You know what? I could probably use that worthless tool that failed us last time. The offset. Yeah, that'll do it. Come on.
What are you trying to accomplish?
I'm pushing this pin out, see? It's right here.
Oh. Oh. Okay, I thought you was trying to get something else out. Huh? Kentucky.
He don't want to come out of there either. Alright, he's being ornery. There it is. There's one. Again, it's going to have to be cleaned all up. But not too bad. It came out pretty easy. And I do number these. This has got a 1 on it already from my build, so pretty easy to know which ones are which. Now we just got to do the same thing to number 2. Alright, we're going to put this pulley back on so we can rotate the motor, because now we need this one at top dead center. And if you look at the front here, you're just going 180 degrees, okay? So you can turn it either direction, but we're going to turn it 180 to bottom dead center. There. Now that should be at the top. Good illustration.
So good.
Okay, we're going to take off this oil sump cover. Probably should have done that earlier actually, but it doesn't matter. It's got to be taken off some point in time. But now it's good a time. Now I had to fix the case under here because it's pretty corroded. And so I used some JB Weld and some water over time and smoothed it out and got it looking as good as I thought it looked. But I went ahead and used, good as I thought it should be. But I went ahead and used some silicone around it too because I don't want leaks. And you can see that leak is not from here, it's from dripping there. These are some cat nuts. I'm probably holding this in here. Come on, come on. I think it's like, okay, I got those goop on here, so it's to be pried. Okay. I put too much on. Good thing putty knives are so rigid, you know. There we go. Now she's coming out of there. One down here. There we go. Should be able to get it clear now. Probably gonna pee all over me again. Nope. There we go. Yeah, that. All right. We're down to take the case bolts out. And there's about 13 of these, or 13 or 14, I think, of these small ones, and then we got 6 mains here for the main bearing lugs. So, journals. We'll just start taking these out. I'm going to take these half ones out first, or the, excuse me, these small ones out first. And then we'll take the big ones out in a uniform manner. Oh, this one's got a nut. Okay, this one on either side of the oil pump. Come on.
Some natural gas for some reason.
Sure it's not unnatural gas? Okay. Alright, we got a lot of washers, which I'm going to deal with when it's off of the car. And there's one more here, but it's already been taken off because I was holding on the intake there. So it looks good. Now we're ready to start taking these case bolts out.
Give me a baggie.
All right. Once again, I'm going to try to take these out in a uniform fashion.
It's not easy.
All right, time to split the case. We got all them bolts out. And of course, it's hard to do this unless you got a case splitter. It can be done, but we're not going to do that. All right. Here come. All right, so the case is split. Before we get too far though, we need to put these lifter holders in here so they don't fall out on us. It becomes more important when you're putting them in, but I don't want these things falling down in there, having to fish them out later. All right, here we go. This should come apart now. Well, I said that, but it's still giving a little resistance, which is futile. Ease it into it. Just go around here and barely get it. Okay. Comes. It's out. Bingo. All right, we got it apart. Now we got to replace this. Now I don't have the new camshaft yet, so it's going to be here in a couple of days, so we'll put it in. What I've ordered is a W90 Engel, which is kind of a cheater cam, but it came highly recommended, and it'll be a little bit more consistent, I think, than what I've put in here. So I'm gonna have to look at this cam, see if I can figure out what it is or what's wrong with it. But there's definitely something wrong in the cam timing. So we're gonna sign off for now. When we get that new cam in, we'll bring you back. Okay, everyone, let's talk about this camshaft situation that we have here. So the reason we're swapping this cam out is because the car runs like garbage on the cam that it's got right now. We can't seem to get it to work right. It won't idle right. It won't idle at all unless you highly advance it. And we found out that it has very low vacuum, even though it's got high compression. Very good compression, I should say, not high, but anyway, I've got 3 cams here set up on the bench. This first cam is the one we just got to replace the old one. This is an Engel W90 cam, okay, and it is, well, they call it a cheater cam, some do. It is slightly better than stock, okay. From what I understand, it gives you just a little bit more performance, and you can even boost that up if you do more to your engine. But this one comes highly recommended as running really smooth and being a little easier without a lot of aggressive stuff that you've got to dial in with other components. Then we've got this, which I got these out of order. This is a Engel W120, okay, that I had laying around here in the shop. The Engel W120 is a pretty performance cam. I mean, most of the time, if you're going to use one of these, you got to do some other things to your motor. You got to have a bigger car, but other things, I'm not going into that because I don't frankly understand all of it. I just had this in my stash. I've had this in a car before, just testing it out, and it does not work unless you've got a lot of components on it to support this kind of an aggressive cam. Engel W120. And then what I have here is this is the Cooltech stock cam that I got that we just took out of the motor. Okay, this is the one we just took out. I took the gear off of it, but this is it. All right, so I'm not a camshaft expert. I'll just put that disclaimer out there. But everything I know is that the higher you go in lift on these camshafts, the more performance you get out of them, because the higher the lift, the longer the valves stay open, the more air you can get into that cylinder and to increase the performance. I also know that the higher the lift, you also lose some on vacuum systems. In the vacuum system, you lose some vacuum pressure because that valve is wide open. So, you know, I have vacuum problems, right? And so my inclination and suspicion is that this camshaft has some kind of a grind problem other than standard. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at that today with this micrometer, or not micrometer, but digital caliper, and we're gonna measure these 3. And I'm not going to get real technical with it. We're just going to measure the overall lift on each one of these camshafts. Okay, so we're going to start with the W90, which is supposed to be slightly better than stock. Okay, so this is the W90. And the way you do this is we're going to take and let's move these back. We're going to take and we're going to measure across the lobe here and zero it out. Let's start with close to 0 here on inches. Then we're gonna measure this out here. See what we got. So it's 1 point. We want the lowest number. It's sitting at about 1.203, something like that. Oh, I had it cocked here. 1.198. Yeah, that's more like it. So let's clear that out. And then spin this thing around to the high lobe and see what the delta, or what the, off of that number, what we're talking. So now we're talking 2.8, something like 2.8, 2.81. There's a 2.81. Say 0.282. All right, I'm gonna put that down. 0.282. That's the W90, 0.282. And again, that's supposed to be slightly better than stock. Now, if we take this 120, I would expect this to have more lift on it. So let's take a quick measurement on this guy and see if he's got more lift. than that last one. So let's clean this off a little bit. So I think all right. Here we go. This one, 1.163, somewhere around in there. Zero it out. Now let's spin it. Again, these aren't going to be exact measurements. And this one is more. Obviously, it's more. We're hovering somewhere around 0.381, 0.382, somewhere in there. 0.381. So yes, this has definitely got more lift at 0.381, 0.382 than that one does, right? So I would expect it to be a little more just because of the performance factor. Now this is supposed to be the stock one from Cooltech. It's supposed to be stock. So let's dial it in. I could probably start from there, but I like to. Okay, see if we can zero this out. Now, I know you may or may not be able to see the digital numbers here, but so this one here, let's see, 1.184, 1.181, 1.180. That's probably close we're going to get. 1.180, and if we take it all the way, it is 0.37. Oh no, there's some 0.38. Let me. Shouldn't be that much. 0.3734. 0.374 was the biggest number I got there. We'll just kind of go with that. 0.374. Now, what you could tell by this is that our Cooltech stock is only slightly less than our high performance W120, okay, and our W90 is way less than either one of them. So this stock Cooltech cam is anything but stock. So therein probably lies the problem. This is a performance cam that has been stuffed in a stock box, and so I'm very much going to be very leery of using any of these in the future. Maybe most of them are okay, maybe they're fine, but I think from now on I'm only going to use angle, and I'm probably only going to use, like, for the lower builds, I'm going to use a W90 or go up to a 110 at the most. But watch your cams. I've also seen some complaints about this cam, that the cam bolts that hold the gear on come loose, and you really got to Loctite these things, because if you just leave them the way they were from shipment, they're going to work out on you. I've seen some reviews on this cam mentioning that, which I thought that wasn't a problem. I would just Loctite it and everything would be fine, but I'm finding a different problem with that camshaft. So we're going to go with the W90. I don't have this one all the way bolted down yet, but we're going to go with this one, and we're going to see where we're at, see if we have much better performance with this thing as far as getting it to run and idle and those things that are just standard you should be able to do. And that kind of explains a lot of the strange problems that we're having trying to get this engine running, I think. So I'll bring you back when I'm ready to stick it in the car. I got a lot of things to do to clean up the engine surfaces and things before we put this back together, and then I'll bring you back when we're ready to put it back together.